We back. Let's see who they got. Who we got? 15 most disturbing last recordings of rappers of all time. Let's see who they talking about.
From Lil Peep popping pills till he OD'd on camera to Indian Red Boy getting smoked on IG Live. We're breaking down the 15 most disturbing last recordings of
Damn. All these niggas did. Sheesh.
Rappers kicking it off with the latest one involving Julio Foolio.
We just got her, bruh. You got to add it.
Yeah, this situation was real weird to me because before all this, he was moving right, you know what I'm saying? Nigga know how to move, nigga know how to, you know what I'm saying, when you in beef. But for him to just be giving out the address to people and shit for a party, it seemed like he was ready to go.
Got to add it, man. Push up.
You say he was tired
We
of fighting.
just got to this bit.
We came deep for my birthday, man. Everybody coming out the stairs.
You letting people know your location, where you at, everything. Like, dude ain't never used to move like that.
June 23rd, 2024, 26-year-old Florida rapper Julio Foolio was shot dead while celebrating his 26th birthday in Tampa, Florida. Foolio, real name Charles Jones, started his rap career back in 2017, racking up tens of millions of streams on Spotify. Known for his gritty yet deeply emotional trap sound,
So
making him
Who
one
I
of the
Smoke, was that his first song?
dopest in the game. He'd get to work with top dogs like Zaytoven, Blueface, and G Herbo. When he dropped his album Resurrection in April 2024, Foolio made it clear that with multiple attempts on his life, he just kept surviving. And props to that guy, cause he was for reals a survivor. He and his homies were so deep in street business that by the age of 20, he'd already lost 15 of his homies to violence, been shot as a teen, and spent years behind bars. For the most part, he'd been standing on business and was never caught lacking, until a nurse at a hospital he goes to leaked his address online. He ended up suing the nurse in the hospital, but wouldn't get to live long enough to see the end of it, because
that was some whole ass shit. The nurse?
than a year later, he got
Definitely would have sued that bitch.
robbed at his own party. On Saturday, June 22nd, Foolio posted a ton of videos on social media, telling his homies to pull up for his birthday party in Tampa. The videos were all over X and Instagram, and after his homies pulled up, Foolio kept sharing party details for his fans.
Hey, the pool party start today at 5, 6 o'clock. If you already got the address, pull up, man. You got the address, pull up. If you need the address, DM me right now. The pool party.
All it take is for a holder, you know what I'm saying? You get a holder address and she gonna slide it straight to her people, straight to the niggas, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gotta be your actual ops who you get an address to. Anybody who you give it to could turn into that. Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We deep as hell. We deep as hell. 20 deep. Lit.
But as his fans watched, so did his ops. Foolio and the crew eventually got kicked out of their Tampa Airbnb for exceeding occupancy limits. His entire crew then relocated to Home 2 Suites by Hilton in Tampa. And as Foolio and a few homies chilled in 2 parked cars outside the building, a group of armed men pulled up on him and glazed everybody
And it's
up.
crazy, it was that many of them out there, man. You tell me your niggas wasn't ready to handle that business?
With choppers. Foolio and
like
3
they
others
was,
were
but they
hit,
didn't
but
stand
he
on
was
it,
the only
so I
one
don't
who
know.
died from the attack. Photos of his beaten up face were all over social media, and while the fans mourned the aftermath, it wasn't nearly as bad as Indian Red Boy's death, which his fans watched in real time.
There's a male in his 20s that was shot and killed inside this car. There are a lot of bullet holes inside that windshield. We zoomed in earlier. Man who was shot in the face and died at the...
Around 4:10 p.m. on July 8th, 2021, LA rapper Zarael Rivera, who went by the name Indian Red Boy, got smoked in Hawthorne while IG living with a friend inside a car. And many said that this was payback for him dissing Nipsey Hussle. Indian Red Boy was allegedly
That's
down
crazy.
with the
I
Bloods.
sure was
while
thinking he looking like Nipsey a little bit. It looked like you trying to be like Nipsey and you disrespecting Nipsey, nigga.
Nipsey was all about the rolling
Nigga.
60s Crips. And after Nipsey got taken out outside his Marathon clothing store in South Central LA on March 31st, 2019, a mural went up for him in Crenshaw. But it got hit up twice in 1 week with red paint that read in part, Victory Lap HBD. Word on the street was that the Bloods did it, and the guy behind it was 21-year-old Indian Red Boy. So on the day it went down, Red Boy pulled up to the back of a gated apartment complex at the 14100 block
Better
of
not
Chattering
scream,
Avenue.
cry, holler, nigga, cause you acting like you living like that. So let's see if you really living like that.
He hopped on IG Live with his homie Capone, and both dudes were all smiles and laughs while thousands would watch, but out of nowhere, a shooter rolls up on Red Boy's car window and let off at least 12 close-up shots. Folks heard those shots and Red Boy tried to block them with his hands before he slumped into his seat.
Damn about that, fool. I got these.
Now the next scene that unfolded
nigga
was
who's
horrifying.
saying I got these, you don't hit those shots, cause that nigga seen
Now the
calm.
next scene that unfolded
he ain't
was
even
horrifying.
say, damn, what's that? You good, folk? None of that. That nigga just, I got these.
Horrifying to watch
Yo,
as
fuck.
Red Boy struggled to say his final words while his homie tried finding out his location.
Blood, what the? Where you at?
Trying to say help.
Most clips of the incident got taken offline, but some YouTube users and bloggers kept copies. In the end, though,
Even if his friend would have made it over there, what could you do? What could, you know what I'm saying? It was
Red
too
Boy
late.
with over 16,000
Well, it ain't too
followers
late because he's still talking and breathing, but it was
on
like-
IG and a rising rap career got caught in 4K by his ops as his life
And it
faded
looked
away.
like they gun jammed. Looked like that's the only reason why they stopped. Looked like dude was about to walk him down some more, and then he looked like he had to fix that bit. No.
Had to be a slow and painful death. But that ain't the case with teen rapper Rilo Huncho, who straight up blew
none of
his
these
brains
young
out
niggas.
while recording TikToks. May 16, 2024. Teen rapper Rilo Huncho, real name Raleigh Freeman III, was found dead in his Virginia crib. Now, Rilo was popping with the teens on social media, having dropped at least 10 tracks and over 2,000 listeners on Spotify. Some of his bangers include Money Getta, Bag Talk, and La La La. And right before he passed, he dropped a track called Gettas earlier in May. He was the only son of his mom, Monica Savage, who was his ride or die, raising solo to
Her
chase his
last name
dreams.
Savage,
But on
so
the
it looked like that's where he got it from.
day he died, Monica wasn't there to have his back no mo. That day, Rilo was flexing on his IG story showing off a handgun, but off screen, he was recording a video for TikTok. Cops got
Do you live in Alabama?
Like you about to put
We're
that
looking
bitch
for
to
10
the
car
head.
accident victims
Young
to try the
nigga
new
tripping,
2025 compensation.
got called to the scene and he was pronounced dead a few hours later. Now here's the deal. No one's certain if Huncho was running with a crew, but judging by his lyrics and what he posted on IG with over 27,000 followers, it seemed like he might have had some ties. He would even post a TikTok vid flashing what looked like the same piece he ended up using, so he'd been holding on to it for a minute. Rilo's crew set up a GoFundMe to handle his funeral costs and support Monica during that tough time. They aimed to raise 15 G's and already pulled in over 8 in donations. That cash definitely helped out Monica with Huncho's funeral, but you know how it is. Money make people do stupid shit, like the dudes that took out XXX Tentacion in an armed robbery. June 18, 2018. José Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, aka XXX Tentacion, hit up the Bank of America to grab some cash before rolling to Riva Motorsports, a bougie spot for bikes and boats in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And this was the last time he was seen alive.
Everything about this was
And that dude in the
suspicious.
black ended
Even
up being
his cousin or his uncle who was in the car with him hopped out and left. Like they don't never really talk about dude that much, but that shit seemed too suspicious to me.
one of the dudes that took XXX's life. Tentacion was a huge inspiration for the generation. He dropped his first track News Flock on SoundCloud back in 2013, and 5 years later, he was pulling in millions of listeners on Spotify. His come up was wild, but the drama in his life only intensified. He once admitted to beating his pregnant girl, Geneva Ayala, and stabbing 9 people. He would beef with other artists, and even stir up drama in music videos showing him lynching a white dude. Still, his music was deep, touching on depression, loneliness, and suicide. He was on the verge of something big, but now we'll never know. On the day he
Guess
got
we'll
smoked,
never
though,
know.
Tentacion spent almost half an hour inside the dealership with his uncle, Leonard Kerr. When he bounced and got his BMW i8, a Dodge SUV with 3 dudes inside cuts him off and blocks his path. 2 robbers, Newsom and Boatwright, hopped out packing, demanding his stuff. They tussled quick, with Newsom clocking Tentacion and snatching his chain. Onfroy's uncle would bail, leaving the car door open,
Yep.
while Newsom jumped in and grabbed Onfroy's Louis Vuitton
That was too
$50,000
suspicious,
bag.
gang.
But Boatwright wasn't done. He went back to Onfroy's whip, looked him dead in the eyes, and let off shots, killing him cold. Right after Onfroy's death, the Broward County Sheriff's Office...
Yeah, that was weird, too. Like, you already had the shit. You could have just dipped and left, you know what I'm saying? For you to kill dude was targeted, like, on some... You was paid to do that exactly. It wasn't paid for a robbery. It was paid to take him out.
$3,000 reward for info on the killers. At first, fans and locals pointed fingers at Florida rappers Soldier Kid and Soldier JoJo because of some sketchy IG posts they put up. But those accusations dropped when the real culprits got busted. All three got slapped with first-degree murder and robbery with firearm charges, locking them up for life without parole. Now his killers are all doing the time, but FBG Cash's killers are probably still out there living it up. FBG Cash, a Southside rapper rolling with the drill rap crew, Flyboy Gang, got taken out in 2022. Now back in 2020, his crewmate FBG Duck, real name Carlton Weekly, was fatally shot as well, and what cops called a targeted gang hit. FBG Duck's death sparked a lot of community activism, and cops worrying about the payback. But just 2 years later, FBG was hit again, with Cash getting smoked all over some beef about Von's mural. You see, just months before he got smoked, FBG Cash was on the No Jumper podcast talking about Lil Durk and Von. He took a disrespectful pic from King Von's mural at the Chicago apartment where Von grew up. And not long after taking that photo, he went on No Jumper, detailing the conversation he had with Lil Durk via text to Adam22. In his words, he said,
"Conversation we were having before."
First of all, how you do some gangster shit and first thing you do is go do an interview about it. Let me go talk about it on the interview so millions could hear me. Not just the feds, but so millions could hear me. Nigga.
Told you to go take this photo.
Me, go over there and do that and see what happened to you. I'm outside right now.
You hit him up?
Yeah.
This got heated quick, and Lil Durk dropped a subtle diss to FBG Cash in his song Computer Murderers, when he said,
"Sneak. Ignite the fairway."
I see why these niggas be getting hit up. they doing stupid shit. They deserve it. I do not feel sorry for none of these niggas on out and spin.
And just 3 months later, FBG Cash got smoked.
A Southside rapper was killed this morning after a gunman armed with a rifle.
The nigga who narrating, he don't care about Anita. As how he talking, these niggas got smoked.
Opened fire on his car. 31-year-old Tristan Hamilton performed under the name FBG Cash.
At 5:32 a.m.
You past the YN life, you know what I'm saying? You was supposed to be trying to get some money out here and not be running the streets, you know what I'm saying? Once you in your third this game, come on, bro.
June 10th, 2022, Cash and a girl were chilling in his ride, parked on a street, when a black sedan would roll up and an unknown offender would get out and open fire. Cash was struck with multiple gunshots before he was taken to Christ Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The girl with him caught some shots as well, but pulled through. Now, the streets are saying O-Block might have been behind the hit cause Cash was big with the crew. But O-Block also took an L when King Von got cause Cash was big with the crew. But
the bow-legged wannabe young boy walk, man, cut it out.
O-Block also took an L when King Von got smoked outside a club.
Von was just he was a different individual, bro. Human, man. You're not regular, man. The devil, man. That nigga, devil, man.
King Von is one of the only few demons we done seen die.
King Von, born Devon Daquan Bennett, was a Chicago-born rapper. From the get-go, he was a street kid running with the Black Disciples and O-Block legends like Chief Keef. Now, Von was no stranger to trouble, getting locked up at 16 and again at 18 for toting a burner. Folks say he put in mad work for his
16
gang.
and 18, but you better add some more on there. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That nigga got arrested a few times every year.
Rumored to have bodied 4 to 5.
I had a cousin like that. He did too. Fuck. But that nigga stay in jail. Nigga was wild. And like, you already know what come with this shit. So it's like, fuck.
People earning him the nickname Rap Serial Killer. No one really knows how true all that is though, but we do know Von was trying to switch it up. Inspired by Lil Durk and other homies making it big in the rap game. In 2018, Lil Durk signed him to OTF, and Von dropped his back.
I used to respect how Durk was moving, because he used to move like real quiet and low-key until he went on academics and went to talking about everything and how you know we didn't slide for Von and how you know I'm like, oh, he about to go to jail. And then sure enough, that nigga went to jail. Probably like not too long out of that.
Banger, crazy story. With Durk's backing, the track blew up, putting Von on the map. Yeah, he still had run-ins with the cops and even got locked up again, but that all just boosted his fame. Von and Lil Durk went on tours, and Von started leaving the street life behind to focus on his rap career. But the streets didn't forget him, and sadly, it caught up with him. November 6th, 2020, Vaughn and the crew left Opium nightclub and hit up the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. While at Opium, he was
crazy. 2020 seemed like that shit was just yesterday, man. That was over 5 years ago. Crazy.
Was recorded vibing and chilling with his homies.
Hey, you know, it's all love and this bitch on TF. I done dropped that on that Welcome to Roadblock, that going crazy. I don't want to thank nobody. You know,
how was he smoking in the club, and wasn't he fighting a murder case? Well, fuck, he wasn't on probation. I was about to say, wasn't he fighting a murder case? So in my head, I would think he was on probation, and I just seen him walking with a house monitor thing on, so I would think he couldn't smoke. But
for him, that would be his last recorded video alive, as the next one was retrieved from surveillance footage, showing Vaughn getting into it with a Nop, Quando Rondo. From surveillance footage, showing Vaughn getting into it with a Nop, Quando Rondo.
Like Vaughn bagging
what started as this heated argument turned deadly real quick. Quando Rondo and King Von threw hands, and then Rondo's boy Lil Tim pulled up and shot Vaughn up, killing him on the spot. One of Von's homies would shoot back, and two cops would fire from different spots as well. It was wild. And there's different versions of what went down, but we know dudes got shot, and Vaughn, along with two others, lost their lives. Now, Vaughn was confirmed dead at the
I forgot 2 more people lost their life. I thought them 2 more people had got shot. I ain't know they died.
Hospital. A fellow rapper, Lil Peep, was confirmed dead in his van after recording his last moments alive. Lil Peep, real name Gustav Elijah R., blew up on SoundCloud with his 2015 single, Star Shopping, and even got bigger with mixtapes. Lil Peep...
Are you drowning in payday loan debt? Have you taken out multiple payday loans and are unable to pay them back?
Part 1, and Live Forever, later that year. However, as Pete became a big name in the game, his drug use went through the roof. He would open about battling depression, anxiety, and substance abuse, even saying that he had a bipolar disorder. But for some reason, he never got meds for his depression. Folks around him tried to help, but he chose to find comfort in smoking weed and popping whatever drugs he could get. He talked about his addictions to cocaine, ecstasy, and Xanax in his lyrics and on social media, calling himself a productive junkie. But he told his fans to stay away from drugs, and maybe he should have taken his own advice. November 15th, 2017, Peep was found dead on his tour bus by his manager before his show in Tucson, Arizona. There's some messed up details here, and many fans think that his management dropped the ball. Hours before he passed, Pete posted on Instagram saying he'd taken mushrooms and cannabis concentrate. He also said he popped 6 Xans and showed himself trying to drop another pill into his mouth, finally swallowing one and shaking a full prescription bottle.
Yo, Reggie.
He did it. I almost to death.
And then went out right after this.
That was the last video of Lil Peep before he OD'd. And it wasn't until 5 hours later that emergency services were called, meaning in that much time nobody checked on him, which his fans say was messed up because maybe if someone did, he could have survived. Now at the hospital, doctors...
His people probably thought dude wanted his alone time for a nigga. Got a show about to come up. You gotta leave him alone, let him rest or let him do his thing. Nigga ain't thinking that fuck dude up in that bitch dead. Well, fuck. That's why they say check on your people.
Found a mix of drugs in his system besides Xanax. He tested positive for weed, cocaine, and the painkiller Tramadol. And a few weeks after his passing, his mom, Lisa Womack, hit Lil Peep's management, FAE Group, with wrongful death charges, saying they pushed him to use the drugs even though they knew he was struggling. Now the lawsuit was eventually settled outside of court, but just like Lil Peep, rapper Big Scar died from an OD. But in his case, fans got to see the whole thing live.
Talking about Peep.
Where you going, girl?
I remember this a little bit.
Where you going, girl?
Big Scar, real name Alexander Woods, was born on April 7th, 2000, growing up in the Magnolia community of South Memphis, Tennessee, where he was one of 9 children, living with his grandma till she passed when he was 13. 3 years later, he would get into a car accident, leaving scars on his face, making him go with the nickname Big Scar. Well, here's the drill. Scar wasn't always rapping and stuff, but he took interest when one homie, Baby K, put him in the game. He released his first track, Make a Play, in 2019, receiving thousands of YouTube views. And by next year, he would ink a deal with Gucci Mane's record label, 1017 Records, under Atlantic Records, where he debuted a label compilation album, Gucci Mane Presents So Icy Summer. And then Soulsy Boys Collective featuring Pooh Shiesty, Fujiano, and Tay Keith. Now Scar's motion in the game was going up in his debut mixtape, Big Grim Reaper, peaking at number 25 on the Billboard 200, making it his first solo charting project. He was wavy, but at the same time, ops were checking him out. In 2020, Scar was shot in the hip and the bullet traveled to his spine. This required doctors to remove his appendix and also realign his right leg, making him spend weeks hospitalized. At the same time, he was dealing with drug addiction, depression, and a bunch of other stuff. On the day he passed away, he went live on IG, and trust me when I say he looked high as fuck.
Where you going, cuz? Cuz, where you going, cuz?
When we hit that first 1 million in sales in our first year of business, it was surreal. This is definitely going to be a thing.
We are not a traditional cafe. We're completely unconventional. And my Wix website really has to capture the same magic.
Where you going, cuz?
Guy was stuttering and couldn't make coherent sentences. But after we went off, Scar OD'd on prescribed medication at his girlfriend's house. He passed away at 22 years old, a year younger than Juice WRLD, who also died in a similar fashion. OD. In his last video, Juice WRLD recorded himself on a flight from California to Chicago, and shortly after landing at the airport, he passed away. Gerard Anthony Higgins, better yet known as Juice WRLD, was a Chicago rapper who blew up with his hit track, Lucid Dreams. That song hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and was one of the biggest streaming tracks of 2018. His fame would take him to Travis Scott's Astroworld album, The Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
Wasn't Juice signed to, I was about to say Herbo. What's Herbo partner? I forgot his name.
Soundtrack, and also collabs with BTS's RM and Suga. Juice wasn't just rising, this guy was shooting at the stars. But just like some rappers today, he was fighting battles with depression and substance abuse. Juice had been deep in the drugs from early on and talked openly about it.
I was just thinking about when he got big like that.
The drugs from early on and talked open.
Till you get on them drugs and that lean and that shit start blowing you up. That's how Gucci Mane started looking like that. You know what I'm saying? It take for you to get off all that shit, and then you can see the drastic change in you.
Openly about it. His mom said that he was also dealing with anxiety and depression. Juice had agreed to rehab, but sadly he didn't make it there. December 8th, 2019, 6 days after his 21st birthday, Juice and the crew were flying privately to Chicago. However, feds were already at the airport waiting for his arrival, tipped off about contraband on board. Some say the pilot was snitching. From here, the story isn't really clear, but some sources claim that after the plane landed at Midway Airport and federal agents informed Juice WRLD's crew that they'd be searching the plane, to hide the drugs, he popped several Percocets, but he started seizing and collapsed. He was then rushed to the Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn, Illinois, where he briefly woke up, but didn't make it. Now, reports confirm that he suffered from an OD of oxycodone and codeine. They also found over 70 pounds of weed, 6 bottles of prescription codeine cough syrup, 2 9mm pistols, a .40 caliber pistol, and a high capacity.
See, that's the real reason rappers like to ride private. You ain't got to worry about going through the airport with all these. But that's crazy though, because to get to your plane, you still got to go through the airport and shit. So I don't know how they be getting away with all that, but that's why they like to ride private. They can bring all their shit on that bitch. I guess they skip the searches and go straight through the, you know what I'm saying, to the plane shit.
Capacity ammunition magazine with metal-piercing bullets. Damn. So, moving on to the next, we have a case of a South African rapper, AKA, who got smoked right after vibing with his homies in a restaurant.
What?
AKA, real name Kiernan Forbes.
How about to say, PNB Rock?
Was born January 28th, 1988. Growing up in Mitchell's Plain, one of the roughest spots in Cape Town, full of gangsters and drugs, he would later move down to Joburg with his mom and went to St. John's College, a top school in South Africa, where he kicked off his music grind with a hip-hop crew called Entity, featuring Sizwe Bofu Walsh and Lanla McKenna. After that crew split, AKA started dropping beats for artists like Pro Kid and Kuli Chana. He later linked up with big names like Burna Boy, Da Les, Nasty C, and Questa to blow up his own career, while that his time on Earth was almost over. February 10th, 2023, AKA was seen having drinks with his homies inside the Wish on Florida restaurant in Dublin.
Where can't you go? Let's go! Wherever I go. You go!
That was the last video recording of him while he was still alive. As this next one was from CCTV, which caught a dude in a white sweater and a hat crossing the street, walking up to AKA and blasting him twice in the head, killing him on the spot. AKA was gunned down alongside his longtime friend Tabello Teebs Motzone. 5 suspects had been arrested, but at the end of the day, no one's really convicted, and no one can tell who the real killer is. Unlike L.A. Capone's killer, who was caught almost immediately after taking the rapper's life. L.A. Capone, real name Leonard Anderson, born September 18, 1996, would grow up in Southside Chicago. But in his middle school years, he would move to Atlanta, Georgia
How
with his
do we
father.
know these people?
Later on, he returned back to Chi-Town after his father's
They're not famous, so like...
death in
Who are they?
2009,
Why did they
becoming
even make
close
the list?
homies with Lil Durk. He popped up in some of
homies with
Durk's
Lil
music
Durk.
videos. And just like Chief Keef and
Nigga,
Durk,
the
he
entourage don't make you famous or don't make you a somebody, so why the fuck do we care about these people, boy? We don't care.
was rolling with the Black
it was Durk
Disciples.
or
You
Vaughn
catch
or
him in
something,
videos
people
with
care.
Rondo
Don't
Number
care about
9 and his stepbro Quap, repping G.
I just clicked it on because it said 15 disturbing last recordings of rappers of all time. I would think it'd be rappers that I know. These are people who niggas don't give 2 fucks about.
DK.
Just Chicago goons.
A slang for Gangsta Disciples Killer, because the GDs are the Black Disciples Ops.
Guess what?
When he stepped out around 6 p.m. to look for his girlfriend down the street. But as he was walking down the alley near 70th Street and Stony Island Ave, L.A. Capone was approached by an assailant who fired 4 shots at him, hitting him in his thigh and his back. Upon hearing the shooting, Lil Durk tweeted his wishes for him to get better, but
That's why I don't like these fucking COVID masks for nothing, boy. Since COVID, everybody walking around with skis on and oh, boy, that's a dangerous game. You never used to do no shit like this back in the day. If you walk up with a ski mask on, a shiesty, whatever you want to call it, and I see you, oh man, I've been up on you so quick, bruh.
but later found out that Capone died from the injuries sustained. There were many speculations on who his killer was, but it didn't take long for the cops to figure it out. Because before his death, Capone's gang was at war with numerous gangs, like the OG Gangsta Gang. LA even dissed one of their dead homies in this song, Play for Keeps, in which he said, "Shondell, how hot this shit feel?" Regardless, the gang who most people believe was behind the murder was 051 Young Money. And truly, they were. July 23rd, 2014, Michael Mays, a.k.a. Rockhead, a gang member from Young Money 051.
They did that in New Orleans. They had a group called State Property. They had groups called Bird Gang and all that type of shit.
Locked up in Cook County Jail for stealing a vehicle, decided to tell detectives he had knowledge of Capone's murder. He then snitched on his homie, telling them that the shooter was Saki Hardy Johnson, a.k.a. Lil Mick, who was also a member
still ain't get out of jail though. All that snitching, they be thinking they gonna snitch and that ain't about to help your time.
of Young Money 051. Rockhead also admitted to being involved in the
Check,
murder,
that boy name was
leading the
Rockhead?
cops to arrest Lil Mick. He was arrested and charged with Capone's murder, but with a third individual named Miko Buchanan.
What was the, even though he told you that, what was the proof and the evidence? Like, did y'all find murder weapons, other, you know, you can't just go off a nigga word like that.
From a gang called Met Boys 051. Miko was sentenced to 45 years, with Rockhead, the snitch, getting 21. And ultimately, Lil Mick, the shooter, was sentenced to 60 years. But surprisingly, in 2022, Lil Mick decided to appeal his sentence and won. Meaning, in 2022, Lil Mick decided to
It looked like nothing was in her hands, but I'm pretty sure it's a phone.
appeal his sentence and won. Meaning, he'll be out sooner than we think. But sometimes rappers in life get out sooner than we think. Take the case of Pop Smoke's murder. This was one of Smoke's last vids, just hours before he got taken out. What was his mistake? He got caught slipping. At 2 a.m. on February 19th, a black Beamer rolls up by the crib Pop Smoke was renting in Hollywood Hills. The whip circled back, parked up, and a passenger hopped out, sneaking around the back before dipping a minute later. Then the car peeled off. Pop Smoke was chilling at the studio on Sunset Boulevard
I
at
would
the
have
time.
loved if Pop would have had a gun and would have smoked them niggas.
He would come back 2 hours later, and this time, an Infiniti pulls up with the lights off. 4 dudes in hoodies, one masked up and strapped, broke in to rob him. They say Pop was taking a shower when they busted in, and when he heard the commotion, he tried to fight him off, and sadly it would end with his death. 10 minutes later, 3 of them run back to the car, all caught on camera. The 4th dude, though, strolls out the front door, holding a purse and a piece. Pop
Nigga did all that to get Louis Vuitton bags and clothes and shit like that, bro. That shit crazy.
Bashar Baraka Jackson went out in a senseless and bold way. It made no damn sense.
It did.
Reports say it was teenagers committing a random robbery, but you know, they ended up taking one of rap's brightest young stars. The LAPD got a call from the East Coast about the home invasion. 6 minutes later, cops show up and find Pop in a pool of his own blood, shot up. They rushed him to Cedars-Sinai, but a few hours later he was pronounced dead, just 20 years old. The crazy part
Damn, I thought Pop was older than that. That man was young as shit. He had an old soul, but 20 years old.
His last posts played a major role in his murder. At first, the cops thought it was all gang-related because of his ties to the Crips. But earlier that day, Pop Smoke posted pics flexing with cash, designer gear, and a luxury ride. His boy Mike D also shared pics, and you could see part of the house's address in the background. It seemed harmless until Pop posted a story on IG and Facebook showing designer bags with his house's full address visible on the package, matching what was in D's post. On July 9th, 2020.
I thought the chick had set him up. I thought Shorty set him up, but all right. He showed the address numerous times, twice.
3 grown men and 2 minors were arrested for his murder. One adult got hit with a murder charge with special circumstances for killing during a robbery and burglary, and another.
And in LA at that.
They have over 1 million quality parts
that are guaranteed to fit. Now that's my speed.
Another got charged with attempted murder. It's messed up no one knows.
If you can't self-defense and you can't carry, I don't want to let her.
Sentence will bring Pop Smoke back, but his legacy lives on. And the same goes for Young Dolph, who got smoked while in the hood.
Well, you gotta keep
November 17th,
like
2021. Young Dolph got gunned down in Memphis while stopping by Maqueta's Heat. 2021. Young Dolph.
When you see $500 like that.
Got gunned down.
You see $500 period. I don't even think they got none of those in LA. They probably do, just in the hood part, but.
In Memphis while stopping by Maqueta's homemade butter cookies. A spot he always hit up when he was back home.
Damn, that shit
Maqueta's homemade butter.
Put Maqueta's out of business, huh? Maqueta's was nice and open when all that shit happened. That shit happened.
Cookies.
That shit out of business.
A spot he always hit up when he was back home. The death wasn't just the end of a career. It shook Hollywood to its core. Born July 27th, 1985. Young Dolph, real name.
Dolph, a nigga I would have judged by the cover and would have thought he wasn't a real street nigga. I wouldn't have thought he was living like that or none of that. And I still don't know, you know what I'm saying? But Memphis act like he was, so I respect it. But I wouldn't have thought Dolph was really living like that.
Adolph Robert Thornton was hitting the music scene hard from early on. He blew up with his feature on OT Genesis's 2015 track, Cut It, which climbed to number 35 on the Hot 100.
Outperformed OG Genesis, cause like Dolph was way bigger than him by the time he died, and don't nobody checking for OG Genesis. So.
The next year he dropped his debut album, King of Memphis, hitting on the Hot 100. The next year he dropped his debut album, King of Memphis, hitting number 9 on the Billboard 200. From there he kept dropping heat, each project making waves. Signed to Paper Route Empire, his biggest success came with 2020's Rich Slave, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard 200, the highest spot he reached. Now Dolph's grind was real, and he was out there winning, but not everybody was happy about it. You see, back in September 2017,
him and Gotti beef was so stupid. Nigga said they beefing because he didn't want to sign a Gotti and Gotti felt played. I'm like, well, if that's the truth, Gotti, you down bad. It got to be more to it. It got to be. I'm gonna do a video on it, but it
Young Dolph got shot outside a retail spot in Hollywood, leaving him in critical condition. He would spend 2 weeks in the hospital, recovering from 3 gunshot wounds, and folks thought that it was payback for his album, Bulletproof, which dropped earlier that year.
He was down bad from antagonizing. You don't have a nigga shoot at you 100 times and then you go back and make a song talking about 100 shots. All right, bitch, I'm gonna come at you again and again and again.
Like some folks took his bars too seriously.
After the 100 shots, nigga try to get him again, broad daylight.
A few years later, they came for him again. On that day, a fan took a video of him getting gas, and then another took a pic of Dolph walking into the bakery. Sadly, these would be the 2 last recordings of him. 2 shooters in a white Benz took his life. Hundreds pulled up to the scene, showing love and mourning the loss of a real one. Dolph was known for giving back, handing out turkeys on Thanksgiving, and doing mad charity work. He even dropped $20,000 for 2 baristas at Duke University, who got fired for playing his track Get Paid. He was all about lifting his people up, yet he got taken out for nothing. Another dude out there who used to lift people up would be one of the greats, Tupac Shakur.
Crazy niggas down there, motherfucker.
That was the
Tyson's
second to
fighting
last
Vegas.
video ever recorded of Pac before his demise, as the final footage showed him getting into a fight that many say cost him his life. But the drama didn't start that night. It would
Shit
kick
show
off
cost
2 years
him.
before when Pac got shot up.
I knew back then when all this shit happened. I'm like, bruh, it's the nigga who ass they just beat. You think a nigga just let that shit slide? You know what I'm saying? And it happened right after you just beat his ass? Come on, bruh. You ain't gotta look for the killer. We know who did it.
During a robbery in a Manhattan.
Now I gotta go back and see. He must have had an alibi or something back then. Like, how did he get around that charge? Talking about oh boy, who got his ass whooped.
Studio lobby, where he was working on Me Against the World. Pac blamed Puff Daddy and Biggie for that hit, which fueled him to roll with Death Row Records out in LA, sparking the infamous East Coast West Coast beef that defined the 90s rap scene. It's good times. Now, on the night it all went down, Pac and his crew were caught on tape at MGM Grand, throwing down a dude who turned out to be a Crip before the Mike Tyson fight. Pac was laying hands on him until hotel security broke it up. And after that, he changed and headed to Club 662 for a charity gig, but never made it there. While seated in the passenger seat with Suge Knight behind the wheel, a white caddy rolls up beside him and the shooter in the back seat lets off from a .40 Glock at Tupac's BMW. Pac gets hit 4 times, chest, arm, thigh, and a lung shot. Bullet fragments also caught Suge in the head too, but he managed to drive a mile away to Las Vegas Boulevard, where paramedics showed up. A few days later, it was announced Tupac had died from his injuries.
See, it's always so many different stories with that. He said a few days later, some people be acting like he died ASAP, but then we know he made it to the hospital and then died, and like it just all type of confusion behind it.
And here we have Takeoff, another rapper whose death and last recordings were quite traumatizing to watch.
This is surveillance video of Takeoff and Quavo, along with their entourage, walking into Houston's Johnny Dang and Company Custom Jewelry.
November 1st, 2022, after a private party at 810 Billiards and Bowling in Houston's Green Street, Takeoff got brutally shot up in the head and torso. Born Krishnik Kari Ball on June 18, 1994, he was raised by his mom in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Takeoff would start messing with beats in 7th grade, but didn't really start taking off until 2011 when he teamed up with his uncle, Quavo, and cousin Offset to form Migos.
I just found out Offset not even related to them. They got cool with Offset in high school or something. It was like he was the only one who didn't laugh at him when it came to their rap shit. I think they got cool in like 8th grade or something. I didn't know that. I thought they was all kin.
2013, Migos blew up with Versace, which Drake later remixed. And after that, they polished up their sound with mixtapes and collabs with folks like Gucci Mane and Justin Bieber, dropping their first album, Young Rich Nation, in 2015. These guys racked up 2 Grammy nominations, one for rap performance for Bad and Bougie, and another for the 2017 album, Culture. In 2018, they snagged the ASCAP Vanguard Award for the banger Motorsport, featuring Cardi B and Nicki Minaj.
And it's crazy they had both of them on there, and those are the 2 biggest people who beefing.
Despite all the success, things went downhill in 2020, when Takeoff got hit with a civil suit for sexual battery and assault. He could have been prosecuted, but before any court dates, he was murdered. On that day, about 40 folks were outside the bowling alley after the party. Out of nowhere, a fight would break out on the 3rd floor entrance, and guns started blazing, with straight bullets hitting Takeoff. A nurse nearby heard the shots, rushed over, and found Takeoff in a pool of blood. She checked that pulse, but he was already gone when medics arrived. Footage from the scene shows Quavo in an orange shirt and others around Takeoff. They tried to move him, but then they laid him back down as Quavo shouted for help. Even crazier, Takeoff had posted a pic of himself smoking with the song Stop Breathing by Playboi Carti on his IG story before all this went down, sparking conspiracy theories about his death and making folks wonder if it was really an accident.
I mean, if it wasn't still, I would Takeoff know that, like, to post that picture like that. Ready for the ops. I gotta watch this one. Nah, that was good. Oh, fuck, as it got back to the end, it was good. Only for the people I know, fuck. I ain't know half of them on there. A good 4 of them I ain't know. But, that was good, man. If y'all like that, like, comment, and subscribe.
Don't do it for the bar, just do it for the bar, just do it for the